What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got Michael Chandler talking Tony Ferguson, some more details on the JP Buys Cheyenne Vlisma's drama, a must-watch fight announcement, and much more. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. Now let's get into it. The UFC doesn't want a fake champ to headline their event, says Petr Yan. The UFC is making some moves in regards to some big-time fights. Previously, the promotion announced that the highly anticipated bantamweight title unification bout between Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan would take place in early March at UFC 272. But now the UFC has moved the fight 1 month to UFC 273 in April. Aljamain Sterling took the opportunity to throw some shade Yan's way by retweeting an article about the fight being moved with a caption that read, "Confirms that he was told that they're moving the fight because of Yan. I fixed the headlines for you guys." Then Yan fired back a response. "Pathetic liar, desperately trying to look good and control the narrative, but it won't work. I'm vaccinated and ready to bash you anywhere, even tomorrow. UFC simply doesn't want fake champion to headline the event." Then Sterling responded to Yan with this. "LMAO, I'm only repeating what I was told from the bosses. Don't get your potato tits in a twist. I'd happily f you up tomorrow too. That can easily be arranged." Fight fans have been waiting quite a while for this rematch, especially after how their first encounter ended. Yan lost his bantamweight title when he was disqualified over an illegal knee strike to the head of Sterling back at UFC 259 in March of 2021. Since then, Sterling has had serious neck surgery, and Yan defeated Corey Sandhagen for the interim bantamweight title. By the time the rematch rolls around in April, it would have been 13 months since their first fight. What do you think about the UFC moving the bantamweight title unification fight to April? Michael Chandler responds to Tony Ferguson by scoffing at all his callouts for a short notice fight. Michael Chandler is still recovering from the fight of the year he had against Justin Gaethje, an incredible bout that has seen both men take their time to heal. Still, Chandler has been getting called out by Tony Ferguson, who, in a tweet, stated this to Chandler. "There's my Mike Chandler MMA, the brass, Dana White, UFC, relayed your message, saying you would be ready for me April/June. Looks like you're trying to delay that whooping. I owe you for cutting in the line, kid. It's wrestling season, MF. Man up, champ." Now, in an interview with MMA Fighting, Chandler is responding to Tony and in fact stated that he has no interest in taking this fight at the moment, although who knows for the future. This is what Chandler had to say.
When you add these little caveats and asterisks, are you really asking for the fight, or are you only doing it on your terms, or in a scenario where you know a guy's not ready to fight? I'm not ready to fight in February. It's less than, it's 5 weeks away.
There's no doubt that Chandler is a gamer who wants to fight all the top guys in the lightweight division, of which Ferguson is clearly one. But it remains to be seen if and when this fight will take place. But what do you think about Chandler's comments about Tony not really wanting to fight? JP Buys opens up about his personal struggles during divorce. Cheyenne Vlisma's delivered a noteworthy interview earlier this week, admitting that she's currently divorcing UFC fighter JP Buys, that she's had several struggles throughout 2021, and that she's now at an undisclosed location overseas, but training every day. She made it clear that she wasn't sure when she would fight again, but she needed time to sort out her personal situation. Well, JP Buys, the man she's currently divorcing, responded to those claims on Twitter, saying that she had an affair with a fellow UFC fighter, Roman Dolidze, and said she's in Georgia with him right now. Well, just a day after that tweet, Buys spoke with MMA Fighting about the situation and revealed that she filed for a divorce in the middle of December, shortly before leaving the country, and that it's still in the process. The South African talked about his frustrations of trying to heal as the divorce process plays out and figure out his personal situation, given that he's a foreigner who needs a work permit in order to legally work and fight for the UFC in the United States. He also relayed how it doesn't help that Cheyenne, in being incredibly vague about her situation, has led many to speculate that there was abuse involved on the part of JP towards Cheyenne, which he has denied. Still, he says he's received threats over things that he's being accused of, which he says he didn't do. JP also goes on to say that he's gotten fight offers, but because his work permit was through Cheyenne and due to their separation, it's no longer valid. This has a knock-on effect on his being able to travel for fights as well, given that it would be difficult for him to return to the US. As for his soon-to-be ex-wife's struggles, JP went on to say this to Mike Heck.
She can fight when she wants to, when she's ready. You know, she can get a house on her name. She has her car. Like, her life is normally going on. She's in another country now, having a vacation, training every day. I can't get a house on my name. I can't get a vehicle on my name. I can't fight. I can't earn money. My life is stranded.
The uncertainty over his status, coupled with the divorce, and if true, an affair, would be difficult on anyone, no less a professional MMA fighter. Cheyenne later responded to the claims that she cheated on JP Buys, and in a now deleted tweet said this: "If there's anything I would like to say, it's I for one never cheated on my husband, nor would I ever cheat on someone. The fact that I had put my business out here is just mind-blowing to me. I will not be saying my side of the story, as the relationship I had was my relationship, and it was not a good relationship. We only married for a visa, and unfortunately, things were not how it seemed on media. Things happened this past year. That is the reason things ended, as it was for good reasoning to end. As for what I do after leaving him is also my business. I will not stoop down to the level and bash someone's name as much as I want to." What do you make of this whole situation between JP Buys and Cheyenne Vlismas? 4 fighters let go by the UFC. MMA Junkie recently came out with a report citing anonymous sources saying that the UFC has parted ways with 4 fighters. It's unclear if these guys were actually released from their contracts or their contracts just weren't renewed, but here goes. 40-year-old Michael Prazeres was let go by the UFC. He was 10-4 in his whole MMA career. He had notable wins over Myrbek Taisumov and Gilbert Burns. 31-year-old Maki Pitolo was also let go. He was 13-9 in his MMA career. Jared Gooden, who's 28, he was 18-7. Gooden's most notable wins were against Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov and Alan Juban. And finally, 27-year-old Matt Sales, 8-4 in his MMA career, has also parted ways with the UFC. What do you think about this latest round of cuts made by the UFC? Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest fight news. Ciryl Gane talks about Francis Ngannou's snub. When Francis Ngannou walked past his former coach and 2 former sparring partners backstage at Madison Square Garden at UFC 268 in November, it caught the attention of the entire fight world. The 3 men he walked past were his former longtime coach in Fernand Lopez, his one-time sparring partner and future opponent, Ciryl Gane, and his former sparring partner, Nassourdine Imavov. That night, Imavov beat Shabazian via TKO in the 2nd round. A big win for the young Dagestani, who reportedly is also one of the biggest supporters and training partners of Ngannou for several years. That's why Ciryl Gane, in the famous video, looks so confused as to why Ngannou didn't at least say hi to him. This is what he said about that incident on the MMA Hour this week.
Nassourdine Imavov did a lot of sparring for Francis Ngannou, maybe the biggest sparring he had on his career.
Wow.
So that's why it was a little bit changed. He just won his fight in Madison Square Garden. He just jumped in the top 15. So that's why it was a little bit changed. That's why it was wrong for me.
Gane is now preparing for the highly anticipated heavyweight title unification bout against Ngannou on January 22nd at UFC 270. It's a fight that has everyone pretty evenly split as to how they think it will go. In fact, in our latest poll, we asked you who you thought would win this fight at UFC 270, and with 22,000 votes cast, about 51% of you believe that Gane will take the undisputed heavyweight crown, but Ngannou is not far behind with 49%. Here's what some of you had to say about this fight. Francis is always just one punch away from sending you to bed. Hard to say who wins. Cyril's speed, I think, got the better of Lewis, but I don't think it will be as big of a factor against Francis. If he can avoid his power shots, then Ciryl has a chance. Otherwise, I think Francis wins. This is why this is such an intriguing matchup. Anything can happen. Here's another comment. Francis has had too much drama on the side and has been looking past Gane to fights with Tyson Fury. A lot of the time, whenever fighters look at the future of fights, they end up losing, so I got Gane just for that. It's true, Ngannou has already been talking about future fights, and Tyson Fury even called him out to box. This is what another comment read. Coin flip, Ngannou early or Gane in the later rounds. Probably the 2 most talented heavyweights to ever fight in the UFC. In terms of intrigue, this has all the makings of a true classic. Let us know in the comments below who you think will take this fight and which round. And if you want to be part of the conversation, take a look at the community tab on our page. Booked. Jorge Masvidal versus Colby Covington for UFC 272 on March 5th. This one has all the makings of an incredible scrap. The drawing between Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington is about to step up big time after MMA Junkie cited anonymous sources that say that the UFC has booked a fight between the two former friends turned bitter rivals to headline UFC 272 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on March 5th. This fight is years in the making, as the two were incredibly close, even living with one another at one point, until things took a turn for the worse, and now the two have become big-time rivals in the welterweight division. Covington, who now trains at MMA Masters after being teammates for years with Masvidal at American Top Team, well, he's trash-talked Masvidal in the media for quite some time, with Masvidal always responding in kind. Covington is coming off a decision loss to welterweight champion Kamaru Usman at UFC 268 this past November. Masvidal is also coming off a loss against the champion, having been knocked out by Usman at UFC 261 in April. Both have big fan followings and love to drum up as much drama as they can for their fights. So it goes without saying how highly anticipated this fight will be. What do you think about this matchup? What was your first reaction to hearing this fight was finally booked? And who do you think will win between Masvidal and Covington? Thanks so much for joining us today and catching up on all things MMA. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA world. See you next time.